This is the PI Advice Podcast.
What's going on? Yeah, I just jacked that whole intro up. But what's going on, everybody? This is Andrew with the Private Investigator Advice Podcast. You can find me at PrivateInvestigatorAdviceHQ.com. We've got videos. We've got the podcast. We've got a ton of articles I've been writing for over a year. We've got a lot of stuff on there for anybody you can think of. So, yeah, it's a nice overcast day out here in Washington today. And I've been meaning to put out a podcast, so here I am finally pumping one out for you. Not too much has been happening, but enough to talk with you guys. Also, you can find a lot more podcasts on spitball.tv. We've got the American Dad podcast. I host that with my brother and Luca. And basically, we typically end up having we have different opinions quite often on there. You'd think that because I have my brother on there that we would probably agree more than not, but honestly, we don't. So basically, that podcast is kind of like for dads, and we try to come up with find some dad stuff and dad gadgets, and from the dad who's probably got kids in their teens to dads that are soon to be dads. And then also we've got they got the Leo Biker podcast. It's for it's basically for police officers who are involved in motorcycles and stuff like that. And my brother's involved in a law enforcement motorcycle club. And so they talk about that kind of stuff and their camaraderie and stuff. And what it reminds me of is when I was in the Army with my buddies, and the closest that we had. That's kind of the friendships that they've they work together, and then they ride together, so they've got that bond. And then they got the Tinfoil Happy Hour podcast over there, and that talks about conspiracy stuff, and actually it kind of probably fits up right up the Private Investigator's alley. In regards to stuff like that. And then there's the Big Show Thursday, and they do all kinds of stuff on that one. All the podcasts are really good. Definitely check that out at spitball.tv. And let's see what else we got going here. So if you're new to this podcast, and I say this every podcast, this podcast is basically for the guy who's trying to figure out if this is the right job for him. Maybe they want to learn a little more about it, or one who's trying to get better at something that they're doing in their business, or just working for somebody. Maybe it's better at being surveillance. I typically have more advice on surveillance because that's really what I've been doing for almost 10 years is just videotaping the person, and I've also new to the PI business world. Really kind of with a slow start. There's a lot of guys, just even now getting involved in in their own business and taking off much faster. And, a lot of that has to do with, kind of like where you are in life. Like for me, and what you want also, like for me, I want to spend time with my kids while they're young. And, that's more important to me than building up a business at this point. So, my business is growing at a very slow rate, and basically I'm just trying to keep busy enough to pay the bills at the moment, because this is kind of the slow year too, to where before my kids get in school, and then I'm going to have a little more time to focus on that. But it's kind of where are you at in life? What do you want? What's your goals? What's your dreams? So that's everybody has a different idea of what they want in life. So that was me, So, could I be growing at a fast rate? Absolutely. Could I be doing way more? Sure, absolutely. But we all could. Even the guys that are the busiest, that those times will eventually end, and you've got to come up with new ideas to keep business rolling in. So this week, I've got a couple things on the agenda. Nothing major. I don't really know how long this is going to run today, but I wrote an article about social proof. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, I think the easiest way for me to explain it is have you ever done something or purchased something because somebody else had it, or a lot of people had it, or um, maybe it's even like on Facebook, right? Like you see a post from somebody and you go look at their post on Facebook, and they've got like 100,000 likes, and people are following them or whatever, and you're like, well, I don't know a lot about this person, but if there's 100,000 people or whatever number, a large amount of number of people following this guy, I might want to check him out. Maybe I'll like his page and see what he has to say. If I don't like it, I always turn it off. But you make a decision on something because maybe a lot of people are doing it, so you're basically trusting the opinion of others to make to make an uninformed decision. And so you're kind of influenced by what other people do. If 10 people buy the same lawnmower in your neighborhood, you'd be like, hey, why does everybody why is everybody purchasing this? Is this like some great lawnmower? So, maybe you don't have it, you've never driven it, but you're like, well, how can I go wrong if everybody's doing this, right? It's got to be a good decision that they're making. They're all doing it. That doesn't go for everything, but there's a lot of things that we do in life based on what we see others do. Because we can't always have an informed opinion about everything. Sometimes we have to make judgments on the information that we have. So now that I've kind of, tried to explain what I believe is social influence, or, what is the other word I use for it? I think I wrote it down here. Social proof. That was the other one. So I've kind of given you that idea, and so I got to talking with somebody who I actually met through the website, through the chat room on my website, and he's a relatively new business owner, hasn't been in the industry that long, but long enough to know what he's doing here. And he went through. He basically told me all the stuff that he's done, and what he saw results, in regards to marketing, what he's done to market himself, market his business. Even he's even got down. He's like, after about, okay, so where was I? So I had to take a brief pause there. So after, a few times being turned down, he sat in his car and he was telling me that he was kind of getting down. He was like, you know what? I'm going to learn something from every turn down that I get. And, this is not uncommon in marketing. I mean, if you've never been turned down by somebody, then you haven't marketed. I mean, because even the little bit of marketing that I've done in regards to like going to lawyers' offices and getting the brush away, it's a growing thing. Not everybody has a marketing team for their investigation company. Probably or very low percentages of companies have that. I can only think of the big companies that I've worked for that have specific people dedicated to marketing, and even then, it's like really just focused on the insurance. It's not anything. It's not really lawyer based, at least in my experience. I'm sure it's out there, but that's my experience. So, anyways, so then he goes through the story with me, and some of the stuff was he probably felt that was just a complete waste of his time, and other stuff he felt like, well, I've got the ball rolling, even though I haven't seen any work immediately, maybe down the road. So anyways, he goes to, he has a friend who's a lawyer, and I guess they got into some conversation, and hey, Ryan, if I'm messing the story up, I apologize, but I just felt that it was a good story. So I'm going to try to remember it exactly like you told me. But essentially, he says, go talk to this lawyer, Joe Lawyer, whatever his name was, I don't know. And he says, go talk to this lawyer and tell him that I recommended you. Tell him, drop my name. And so he went to this lawyer's office, and he happened to get there right when the lawyer was getting home or getting to the office, and he stepped out and probably freaked out the lawyer a little bit because he knew the guy's name. Like, are you Joe Lawyer? And then he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, hey, so and so judge recommended me to you, and he said that you might need a private investigator. And he's like, oh, so and so did he recommended you? Yeah, come on in. Needless to say, Ryan walks out with a case to work, and And he had said, look, if I wouldn't have basically dropped this guy's name, I might not ever got my foot in that door. And we got to talking about it. I mean, essentially, the guy made a decision off a reference. I mean, it was social influence at its best. It's word of mouth. I mean, that guy could have always called, Joe Judge and go, "Did you recommend this guy?" or whatever. But the short of it is probably without that, he would have never got in the door. And then it got me to thinking about it. I mean, even my personal stories, and I've probably mentioned them before, but I've gotten people go to these Yahoo forums and they say, "Hey, I'm looking for a private investigator in Washington or whatever." All these states are around the United States, and they they're looking for somebody to be a vendor for their company because maybe they don't have enough work to sustain a full-time investigator in that area. And so I end up doing some work for a company, and then they said, "Hey, why don't you check out this other company? I know that they're looking for somebody in that area." So I did that, and I dropped the gentleman's name that recommended me from company A to company B, and because they really like that guy over at company A, they trusted, when I said, "Hey, he's referring me to you," they ended up started giving me work. It was, again, they don't know me. They know I could tell them everything about me, but in reality, they don't really know me. And when I can say, "Hey, so and so recommended me that I come here. You said you needed somebody," it helped me. It helped me get them doing work for them, and that worked more than once. I mean, I did work for. I still continue to do work for this company. And he says, when I could say that I worked for A, B, and C company and I continue to do work for them, even though he doesn't know me, he's going off all hell. If they're continuing to hire Andrew at Fortified Investigative Services, I mean, he must be doing something right. Otherwise, they'd go with somebody else. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and put my time in with this guy and see if he can do a good job for me. And then that gives me the opportunity. And of course, I've got to deliver. I just can't go get the work from the guys and then turn in a turd project. So, anyways, let's drop my camera here. I lost one video camera. But yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, you guys got to do this too. And I just don't think you can go wrong if you're a cop for 10 years. Sell that, sell. Hey, I was a cop for 10 years. And listen, I know cops already do that. And so I'm not telling you anything groundbreaking here, but whatever you did, I mean, if you got a master's in something that's relevant to the investigation industry, you think you're going to, it's going to help you, sell it. If you've done some work on some big case or you worked for specific clients, share it. If you can. I mean, if you're not supposed to, don't do it. But I mean, I've seen companies' websites where they will literally they will tell you all their clients, and then you look at their clients like, "Oh wow, they do work for these guys." Well, again, give them a shot because they must be doing something right if they have all these big clients. They must, and it just comes back into kind of social proof. And I'll give you another example. Facebook, right? My Facebook page, and I don't have exact dates here, but I can just kind of give you the roundabout times. I think I had like 33 followers, like for most of last year. So I've been doing it like 6 or 7 months, and I don't really push it. I'll put like, hey, if you want to say hi on Facebook, I'll put these on my posts. Hey, if you want to say hi on Facebook, come by, say hi. And the list grew very small. And I'm not saying I have a big list right now, but I can say that once I think I hit about 40. Once I finally hit 40, the rate at which people started to like the Facebook page was much faster. It was like every other week. I was getting, a new person. Again, I don't push it really hard. I don't, I want to have a big following on there, but it's not the end of the world if I don't. And I don't want to browbeat people like, "Oh, follow my Facebook. It's just not in me. But if you want to, go ahead over at the PI Advice Facebook page. Check it out. But so, anyways, the more people that ended up following me on Facebook, there was a faster rate of which people started, over and over again. And even with my video page, there's probably some audio. Maybe it was like 10 podcasts back where I said, "Oh, I have like 80 followers on my video that are following the YouTube page." I mean, we're only 6 months later, and I probably doubled that. I mean, I get somebody following it like literally every other day, which is awesome. But I mean, it just kind of shows that I think that there's a lot to that social proof. I mean, here's an example. If you go to my Facebook page and there's only 2 followers on it, and I'm telling you, oh, go there, sign up, and follow what I have to say on there. There's only 2 people on there. I don't think that even myself, I wouldn't follow my own damn page if there's only 2 people on there. Like, there's not a lot of, unless I'm just putting out just amazing content. I mean, but even if I was putting out amazing content, when I kind of do sometimes, people would want to follow, right? I mean, there would be, they'd be like, oh, I want to see what this guy says next. But even if I don't put out amazing content every single time, you can look at, look at it and see how many people are there. And you're if there's only 2 people there, you're not gonna probably follow me. You're like, well, nobody else is following this guy. Why would I want to follow him? He's probably not that awesome, even though I am. But so, anyways, that's my spiel on social influence for private investigation companies. Along that same line, I would definitely, I'm always talking about ebooks and stuff like that. And I posted it on Facebook, just another reason to follow. A book that I'm reading here, and I'm about, I don't know, I'm probably a few hours into it now because it's pretty awesome. But it's called Contagious: Why Things Catch On. It's by, who is it by here? I'm trying to see the title of it. Jonah Berger. It talks about why things go viral, why what are like the ingredients as to why things just take off, and it could be companies, brands, advertisements. There's probably still advertisements. Advertisements in your brain that you remember. Where like for me, it's like I think it was Wendy's, right? And there's this old lady in the back of a cab, and she looks at her, I don't know, she looks at her cheeseburger or whatever, and she says, "Where's the beef?" I'll never forget that. I think I saw that when I was like 7 or 6. I don't know. It was just, that's almost 30 years ago. I still remember that commercial. I can't say that about every commercial. I can't say that about Super Bowl commercials. I can't remember them, but I remember "Where's the beef?" And so I'm sure if I put that on Facebook, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." I mean, at least maybe people in their 30s, But so definitely check that out. Definitely a good listen, a good read, whatever you're into. And I'm also still listening to the E-Myth. I think it's E-Myth here. Yeah, E-Myth Revisited. This book is it's very long, and it's very dry at some points because he's so thorough about getting his point across regarding his business ideas of how a business should be structured and stuff like that. Not for everybody. You're not going to take everything and be able to apply it, but there's a great deal of it that is probably worth listening to. See, I only have 2 hours left on that one, and I got 2 hours left on Contagious. They're like 8-hour books, if they're written to you. But yeah, so I also have another thing for you guys. It is a app. Now, for all you SEO buffs out there, this is one that you probably want to take a look at. It's called SEO Search Ranking. Now, this isn't the only SEO search ranking app out there, but this is one that I've used for, I think, about 6 months. And what I do, and especially for you bloggers out there, the ones that you want to check out how well your articles are doing. I do this with my private investigator advice. Here, I'll give you an idea here. So I'm going to put this on video here. I have a list of search terms that I try to rank for, right? And let's see here. So I don't know if it's going to show here. I don't think there it is. So I'm just briefly showing here. I track, private investigator advice is a keyword, private investigator tips. That's how I kind of see how I do, like how my articles that I'm writing are ranking, how my website is ranking for those. And I have a few other ways I track this stuff, but if you want to know how your PI website's doing, like let's say you got Ryan in Wisconsin over there. Ryan goes, okay, well, I know my keywords for my website are, private investigator in Wisconsin, Wisconsin private investigator, insurance fraud investigator in Wisconsin, whatever those, infidelity investigator or, cheating spouse investigator, whatever it's going to be in Wisconsin, if that's what it is, or his city, perhaps even a smaller chunk. He can put in all those keywords under his website, and he can just kind of see where he ranks in the search engines, over time, and it tracks it as well. So if you started, today, it would literally track your rankings through whenever, from infinity, as long as you keep tracking them. And I'm pretty sure it just tracks it through Google, if I remember correctly. I don't remember how much it costs. I think it's like a couple bucks. Either way, I think it's completely worth it for your smartphone app to kind of, a lot of us like kind of instant gratification. So if I write an extensive article on social proof, right? I doubt that I'm going to rank anywhere for social proof because there's so much competition for that keyword for that topic. But if someone's searching social proof for private investigators, that's pretty specific. And I wrote an article on that. I titled it. I mean, there's all this little mumbo jumbo that you got to do to help do better, but I want to know how I'm doing. I want to know if people are coming to read that or people searching that. And usually I do my homework in advance to see if people are even want to know about that stuff. But yeah, so that's that's a definitely good app for you guys, you SEO guys. I want to know how well you're doing. Even with your articles. I mean, and I'm a big proponent of putting the blog on your article. I mean, if everybody just blogged specifically to, and I this is my thoughts, and I haven't put this into practical application because I just haven't gotten around to it, to be honest with you. And but I think that if everybody wrote articles like infidelity, here's an example: infidelity in Wisconsin or infidelity in such and such city, you wrote an article on it, or you kind of tailored your articles to what your potential client might search for. Real specific. I think that it would eventually pay off. Those clients would eventually find you, I think. At least that's my opinion. And, I don't have a lot of proof to back it up, but eventually I will when I expand my own blog on the Fortified Investigative Services website. That's my thought. I don't see why it wouldn't work. At least you would get the traffic to your website. What else? Let's see how much time we've got here. We are, what a light podcast today. Well, here's my final thing. And this happens to me from time to time. Sometimes you get into a funk with your surveillance, right? So you go out there and things just aren't going your way. Maybe you've worked a case like 3 days, and it's just every time something else. You might even find the guy. You finally find the guy, and he leaves the house, and you go to follow him, and then you lose him 10 minutes later, maybe less than that, and then it's just like, oh, is this ever going to end? Is this funk ever going to end? And then maybe you finish the budget somehow, and you work another case, and then the funk happens again. If you know that what you're doing is, this is my theory on it. If you know that what you're doing is right, like the way you're working the surveillance is right, and it's worked the same way, obviously you can't do the same thing on every surveillance, but you know that your methods have been proven, you're going to get out of that funk, man. It's going to break, and then you're going to have some awesome cases, and you get back in a good mood again. But you just got to shake it off, man. Shake it off. Shake off that bad surveillance funk. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who works for a large company, and he's like, "Well, how you doing, man? How's your surveillance going?" I go, "Oh, it's been brutal, man. I've been having a tough time. I'm getting the video, but X is happening or Y is happening, or maybe I'm not getting the video. There's just all different cases, something different happens. There's just no guarantee to anything. But he's like, oh, dude, yeah, totally having a bad month. And I know that my buddy that I'm talking to is a good surveillance investigator. So, sometimes the person you're watching, if it's this insurance, they just don't come out, right? Or, if it's cheating spouse, they're just not doing anything, or you lose them or whatever the case may be. You're going to have those funky times. But you just got to work through it, man. That's what I'm going to tell you. Get through it and, make sure you educate your clients, because if they expect that you're going to go out there and never lose anybody or never get burned, that's just unrealistic, and as good as I am, it still happens to me. I mean, it happens, less frequently, like compared to my first year, compared to now. I might get heated or burnt maybe once every 5 months, maybe, and now watch, I've just jinxed myself. Or sometimes you might, get burned like, 2 cases in a row, and you're like, what the hell am I doing wrong? What is going on? But yeah, it's just my thing, man. You just gotta rock through it, and it's gonna get better. Things are gonna get better. Learn from your mistakes. What did you do wrong, and you need to analyze your cases. Every case you work, even if you didn't do anything wrong, and they just found out, you just need to analyze the hell out of what you did, what they did, what the neighborhood did. You don't never know exactly why you get caught or whatever, but you just need to think about it, because if you don't, then you're never gonna get any better. It's not gonna happen. Because if you just think your crap doesn't stink each time you go out there, and if you do X, Y, and Z, you're always going to get X, certain results. That's not always true. So just I mean, I've talked to even friends that call me like, I don't know how I got burned on this. I don't know where I went wrong. And they tell the story how it evolved, and I'm like, yeah, something happened, man. Something beyond your control probably happened, and they were looking for you. That's just sometimes that happens. So. Yeah, man, I think that's my spiel today. I think that's all I'm gonna talk about. So let's recap here. So we got you got your plugin, or not your plugin. You got your SEO app. Check that out. I think you guys will like it. You got the spitball.tv. Not everything is PI world. There are some entertainment values out there. You will learn something from the American Dad podcast, and one of the things you'll learn is, not only am I an awesome surveillance investigator, but I'm an awesome dad. And you got some other awesome dads on the podcast as well. We all come from different backgrounds. And, you got the PI lifestyle where I could be traveling all the time, working all the time, or I'm home a lot with the kids. So that, and then you got Luca over there who works 3 jobs. And he's a workaholic, and he likes limousines. And then you got Chris, who's a police officer, and if you're a cop listening to this, what that kind of lifestyle brings. I mean, I'm not saying it's a negative lifestyle, but it's hard on the family. So definitely something to think about listening to those things. And of course, you got the Leo Biker podcast, another probably draw for the law enforcement agencies or guys who like motorcycles. I like motorcycles. I just can't afford the one that I want right now. But hey, what else we got? So we talked about social proof. We got you can always check out Ryan Adam Investigation. Oh, speaking of which, Ryan Adam Investigation, if I remember that correctly, he just got a new website. He knows the importance of a good website, and he just had one made. And check it out. I mean, don't steal his format, but definitely take some tips from it. From what I understand, it was built on a WordPress a format, and that would be the same as mine. And they look different. This one looks a lot better than mine. You can go to and check out his website at Delafield PI. That's DELAFIELD. PI.com. Very pretty website. If you want to reach out to him, I mean, he didn't say this is okay, but you should, if you want to know how he got his website to look so awesome, maybe contact him on his page or something. Or if you're looking for an investigator in the Wisconsin area, give him a call. He'll tell you if he can help you or not. What else we got here? So then we got social proof, social influence, all that kind of stuff. Use don't want to say use people, people who have influence, right? Like the judge I told you about in the story. if that's going to help you get the foot in the door, if you've gotten the okay, of course, don't just go dropping names like, oh, President Obama, he just said I should come talk to you. I mean, use a real person, get an actual reference, use it. I mean, if you've got experience, talk about it. Tell them, that maybe if you can, I don't know if this is always going to work, but if you can tell them, the type of clients you've worked for, I worked for, such and such insurance company. I've been doing cases for them for years now. Or I have, I have a 77, whatever, maybe you track your percentage of video. I mean, I have a 70% success rate in getting video for, during the summer months. Maybe you have some specific, statistic to share with them. Of course, make it real. Don't lie to your clients. But give them a reason, to follow you. And also, actually, while I'm on the topic real quick, I'm going to jump real quick to something I remember talking with the, I can't remember his name, but he has the Private Investigator Marketing Facebook page. And he had asked something to the effect, and I'm probably going to jack this up, but he was asking, like, do you think you should have all your friends and stuff subscribe to your Facebook page? And, when they're not even really followers of, like they don't even care about your business, but they're following it anyways. And my answer was absolutely yes. I mean, even if you don't have anything on your Facebook page, I mean, maybe you have 2 posts. If you got to get your friends, your family, whatever, to like the page, I do it. I mean, because I think it comes to that social proof again. It doesn't matter. Sometimes not everybody's just looking at the content. They just want to see maybe who else is following you or how many. I think it's important. I think it matters. So I think that's going to do it, guys. I've got a lot of other stuff to do today. I'm sure you do too. Maybe you heard this on your way to work, or maybe you're watching the video. Either way, be safe out there. And if you guys have any comments or suggestions regarding social proof and maybe how it's helped you or maybe how it hasn't, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know. And I think that's going to do it. So you guys definitely take care. And I'm going to get this outro music Definitely give me a jangle on the jingle on the Facebook page or on the website. Let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know. Do you guys even like these videos? I think you do, but if you don't, let me know because I'm gonna still do them anyways. Too bad. And thanks for you guys listening to the podcast, and I really appreciate all you guys contributing and talking with me. It gives me stuff to talk about. And I'm just thankful for that. And we're just going to keep on adding good stuff for you guys. So, whether you're new, you're old, it doesn't matter. You're going to get something out of this. All right, guys. Take care. And peace out.